Local infrastructure. I'd like to welcome Lloyd McMillan and Janine Meyer, community boards, and also welcome Michael as well.
I was in such a hurry to get through.
Okay, so there's no apologies. Any identifications of urgent business? No, any impacts of nature? No. Declarations of conflicts of interest, please. Children's report for July. I attended Darwin's Joint Standing Committee on the 15th, attended the Metro launch, which was very exciting to get it up and running. The year trial and paid yearly council meetings on the 30th and 26th, and met with council officers and attended workshops. I'll take my report. Move that out of the sector. Thank you. Okay, moving on to confirmations of minutes. So, to kick off today, we have the minutes of Downers Water Supply Committee. The meeting was held on the 15th of June. Received reports on water infrastructure asset re-evaluation, the draft budget for 2021, and a report for the TRI water supply. Do I move these minutes? And second by Councillor Birch. Thank you. My second report today is to update our committee on the performance and management of the road network. I'd like to welcome Andrew Dixon, Susie and Richard. Thank you for the report. I'll take it as read and done.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. This is a report that's been produced by REACH. That is a road efficiency group. It's a joint local government and central government initiative, just really looking at the whole road industry and how we can do things better. And one of the initiatives, I guess, is a comparative analysis between the different councils. So it's an important tool to have, because then we can, you can be very insular, looking at your own organisation and think you're doing very well. And then it's not too bad you compare yourself with your peers. You actually start to learn that maybe there is improvements that can be made, or we realise how good we are. One of those things. I'd just like to introduce Lizzie here. She's been a member of the REACH group for a number of years now, I think, and has recently just stepped down as the chair of the leadership group. So she's definitely been involved in this right from the start and knows it in depth. On that basis, I'm going to get her to do a presentation to run through the meaning of the report.
Awesome, thanks guys. Sorry if I get too technical. I have tried to tone it down a little bit, but roads are a pretty big passion of mine. And I've been involved with the REACH group since I started here at TDC, so that's 4 years now. So as Andrew said, this is a really good report that's come out. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go through some of the graphs and I'll do some quick explanations. But at the end, we've got some time. I've got a video of an output that we should look at TDC. So without further ado, some just general overview. Main thing here is, the NCTA confidence is relatively high for our program delivery and financial management. So there's some different takeaways and learnings to be had throughout the report, but we're doing very well. So this is just a quick overview, which you'll have in your agenda packs of the first and second pages of the report. But to jump straight into it, so basically the grey box at the top there is all open source data. Also in your agenda packs, you've got a 13-page explanation of where the sources of the data come from. So there should be no surprises. It's all information that is publicly available, but hasn't been prepared together all on to A3 pages before. So it's quite exciting to be able to look at it and start to tell some stories. Let's jump straight into it. You'll see here that our activity management planning and our procurement are on different scales. So I just want to point that out. These two are out of 3, and this is out of 100 here. While under a traffic light system, you can expect that orange will start to indicate risk. However, if you note, actually, for this report, it's the purpose most RCOs and most councils were targeting for the 2018 years program to be at around that 2 mark. 3 was seen as excellence. So we are at the purpose. We have been making changes. But yeah, we did get some Management, which was at the excellent standard, and the procurement is smart by self-assessment. We have made some gains here, all allowed to use staff responsible for contract procurement have been involved in clever buying training, and it has increased our procurement planning and have us setting up into the smart buy field over the next 2 years. And also we have made some significant gains in the asset management planning through developing an activity management plan this time around, and we are working on some exciting clear line of sight level of service work, which we plan to workshop through council over the coming months. So yeah, just keep in mind that to us sort of purpose. And the data quality graph there on the side, we have had a drop in 2019. That's more reflective of the way we measure our data. So nationally, the old school way of doing it is visual condition rating, which is done every 2 years. It's a very small sample size. We've moved into high-speed data, and we collect that every year over taking into account the use of that road and volume of that road. So while it looks like we've got a drop next year, it will increase again. So it's just the way that the data is reported. So this is our co-investor, so NZTA's assurance of our investment performance. We have made ground since the date, was that May 2018, report. We have made gains on contract management and procurement. We've got a new procurement strategy in place now. There's high confidence there, and same with the technical audit. The network and condition of management, we've certainly improved the management, but we are we've still got a way to go on in network condition and safety performance, because we don't have an unlimited budget or resources, and unfortunately we're still getting people seriously harmed and dying on our roads. So there's still a ways to go. So this is where you get into the nitty-gritty. You'll see that we've got we've got a lot of our spend still sitting in this pavement seal, which is here we're spending a lot in our corridor and our improvements. As well as a steady but large increase in our low cost, low risk, which is so that's the red area there. We've had an increase there. Worth noting though that road maintenance, the blue box, also includes council capital expenditure, which we call renewals. So that's our recently seen in our pavement repair budgets. So you'll see that our cost efficiency here is slowly increasing, but it is pretty flat line compared to our peer group, so we are very affordable. So we're a very low risk council. We are noting conflicts that with utility providers, which is providing challenges for pavement reserving renewals, which impact our ability to actually complete some works. You see that while we've planned to do works, we've actually yet to drop our actuals, and that's just due to conflicts with utilities providers. Make sure we're doing the job once and doing it right. And the road, as I mentioned before, that road condition graph really needs to be taken with a grain of salt. So it says that we're performing really well against our peers. So that peer line here, but unfortunately it is based on some old school data that we've superseded in the way we measure on our network. So the red looks scary. It does. We have achieved those targets. Road safety, as I said earlier, people are still getting hurt on our networks. And also the response to service requests. We're starting to develop a program to look at the roadblocks to a more automated system at the moment. It's very manual and not very efficient, so we're working with the IT department to work through that. Also, you're saying that, while we compare well with our peers for, the total crashes, cycling, we're a little bit above our peers there. But the number of crashes, they're so low that it becomes statistically challenging to draw too many conclusions from.
In response to the service request, we are responding and we are doing work more of case of measuring is the issue here, is improving the way we manage that.
Yeah.
Better data.
So we've still got our safety, so yeah, fatalness areas there. So again, people are still getting hurt and dying on our roads. And as you can see, our primary collectors here, which are only 4% of our length, actually have a very high percentage of crashes. So we need to consider what we're going to do to make these roads safer. Historically, there are a lot of rural narrow roads, so we're looking at some studies there to see what we can do. Again, our ride qualities, this one here, makes us look better than our peers, but again, this is on a very short sample size, and our high-speed data that we now undertake is showing that we actually do have some smooth ride issues, which we'll be aware of with Oldham Road and Domain and Talbot Street. And we should mention that this high-speed data capture that we are now doing, Region NZTA is starting to look at a business case search role that are nationally on local roads, so I suppose we're looking again. We have had some positive though. You see, we've actually managed to really make a bit of an impact from 2 to 0, loss of control on wet roads. That's, while I say it's the data set's really relatively small, we actually have made a change through the high-speed data usage to what we're actually doing. We've actually added another maintenance activity. You may have seen out about on Route 72, do some water cutting. So basically, high pressure water gets blasted into that flush surface to take the excess bitumen seal line, and so then we have a nice stone surface. So it's more grip again. So we are starting to do that. But you'll know that it only works on certain types of roads. So we've managed to, it's been very successful at the top end of Route 72 between Geraldine and Arundel. However, down in the bridge at Winchester, it was unsuccessful and started blowing holes in the pavement. So we're leaving potholes. So that's why you know out there now we have got speed restriction and slippery limit signs, and it is in the program this coming season for a full rehab like we've done at Talbot Street. So rest assured we've got video on there anyway. So yeah, we can't do it everywhere, but we are really targeting that areas. You'll see that we've also had cycleways. There's been a large change here. It's just the asset length, and that was just a correction in data. So you'll see that we've all got all rural, and we actually have had an increase. Some of it is we have got an increased length, but some of it's actually just capturing data better. So Andrew is the one that I can throw to you if I can. It's more around the GDP.
Yeah, this is just generally the economic side of things on the district demographics. There's no real surprises on this. Our GDP is running along track with the rest of New Zealand, maybe a little bit low, but the GDP by industry, you're probably understand the fact that we are a very strong manufacturing base, but that manufacturing, of course, is related to the rural area. And that's driving, I guess, the number of heavy vehicles that are on our roads, which in turn causes issues with wear and reduced useful life on our roads as a consequence of that. The others just all really available population housing up there. You've all seen that before.
So you'll see there that unfortunately the way or NZTA get the information from EPAM doesn't go right down to township level yet, so they are working on ways to get that more information and get clarity. So we really will see that with Metro it's unavailable. Again, you know, in the duty distribution, so this is basically the length of the road, percentage of length of the road versus how many trips are undertaken. So you'll see that while our low volume roads take up a huge portion of our network, they're actually very low on trip numbers. And again, it's that secondary collectors and others that really take the brunt of the traffic. You also note the bridges there, so a number of speed restriction bridges seems to go up and down. We are targeting them. We've got a number, obviously 4 at the moment, but as we replace one of those bridges, another one will tend to fall into the restricted category. So while we sometimes make ground, we tend to sit around that 4. We did have a target to reduce to 0 over this in the South India area, but unfortunately we've just had more come back. So as we renew them, another one comes up in its place. Also, I know so we've now 312 bridges, about a third of them are not accessible by the HBMB trucks and the BTB trucks. So again, it's something that we need to look at in the future.
Expensive items.
Yeah, they are. And I suppose, yeah, it's just key is that, you know, investment in our bridges, pavements and safety needs to be an ongoing target to make sure we see improvements in these reports. Because as I said at the moment, it's based on the budgets we have and we spend every year. So just again, these are our key points, takeaways. So we have made improvements already. What we've just looked at is the 18-19 data. So hopefully the 19-20 data should show some improvement. And some reports showing the alternative funding rules around cycling, which we go through. We are undertaking system reviews to remove roadblocks, that's what you're talking about with the automation of the CRM system to make sure that they're actually getting signed off. And we are responding to the but actually getting the reporting right. We are cost effective and we are generally performing pretty well compared to our peers. And NZTA, which I think have got relatively high confidence on. So yeah, it's good news. So we go to the video now, which is another slideshow. Sorry, run the last slide. So this is you'll see in a moment. This is an output from the high-speed data. You may have seen the big truck drive around. It's a very big yellow truck, sprays water out into the road. So it's set up with computer lasers. It's got a wheel that measures skid resistance and it also measures rutting and some other things. So this is Road 72. This is the area that I was saying we tried to walk up, but unfortunately didn't have any success. Should be a play button down the bottom. Yeah, show me. So basically, as it drives around the network at speed, it picks up full video of the network, which is so handy. And when you compare year on year, you can see the changes. So you'll see here, as we're driving down, see those green boxes there. That's basically a whole lot of technical buff that says that pavement's actually really good condition. So the base course of the road underneath the steel is actually in really good condition. Unfortunately, we've got to the point where there's too many layers of steel and it's become unstable, and that's why we're getting that flushing and most need to repair. So we did try to water cut those areas. So that was the high pressure water blasting in the vacuum to suck up the debris, but it's something up the road. So that wasn't ideal. So we've got that area through there planned for rehabilitation. So you see it's about this point here, and then the rutting is even less again, and the skid resistance has improved. So yeah, we look at a lot of this data. It's really handy to have. All of our rural sealed network has this. As I mentioned earlier, we don't we do measurement every single year, but we don't measure every single road every single year based on those duty travelled. So we kind of look at the function the road plays and decide whether or not it's a yearly collection. You know, like Road Out to Planning Boy obviously has significant effects on our GDP. That one is one that we collect every year, so we can identify any risk early. However, a Greenvale Road out in Gilbane would be a once every 3 year type collection. So we are collecting this information and it's proving to be very, very handy. Hopefully.
It's a type of approach.
Yeah.
It's just, you get 1 hour high-risk roads and you can move down on roads to make sure that we manage them well.
Yeah, it's got a lot of other uses that we can certainly go into like year on year can go and look at how those faults are changing and developing, and we can also use it to just see, you know, what's happened with the roadside mowing in certain areas over time, or any complaints or changes to access ways, things like that. So yeah, it's been very handy tool to use for a lot of other reasons. So yeah, we're getting pretty technical with these roads that we all drive on every day. So yeah, that's probably about what I've got. So happy to take any questions.
Fabulous, thank you, Susie. Councillor Wills.
Thank you. I was just curious. The presentation is a lot of further information here. Just interested in the cost of that particular piece of machinery that goes around. What sort of money's involved in that?
The initial setup was 100,000 to do the full rural seal network and a lot of the urban seal network. But now we target, like I said, by reducing that targeting kind of down to around 30,000 a year.
Great, obviously, cost savings in the long term as well.
Yeah, correct. Cost savings, and just like we can go and look at the most recent data for something that we might get a complaint about. We don't actually need to start, don't actually need to drive straight out to their site and look and see what price we got, something that's first, and then decide if we need to go out and look at it, we can see what the issue is.
That's great, thank you.
The other important thing to note is that we have to, I guess, put up very good business cases to get money from the government these days from the FTA. So this sort of data is essential to demonstrate that there's the need and we have that business case for us. It has paid dividends in that.
Thank you. Councillor Bird.
Yeah, thank you, great report. Just I'm just trying to understand the safety performance matrix. Is it a high level of performance in terms of our whole network against accidents, or is it specific to certain accidents in that particular road?
Yeah, Andrew.
The report itself is on a network basis, so all the corrections on the network they had tried to split down into different road hierarchies. But the real issue we've got is our crash numbers are very low. And it doesn't take much to see that data.
And they're very well spread out, so it's very hard to make an impact. But we're starting to continue along with our low cost focus program, targeting intersection upgrades and seal widening.
And those context curves as well. We are still fairly where they, and that is one of the big things the government has over the road zero project. And we always have.
So is there a correlation between, say, a specific accident and that particular road involved in that? You know, in terms of, obviously you've got someone to catch that if that was the case.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the cause and effect is not captured properly or appropriately.
Yeah, every crash that happens is a full crash report done, and we do an analysis on that. Looking at the road backers, they're not always the road backer.
It's a lot of trouble. Yeah, and but then we can make the roads more forgiving for those mistakes. So a lot of it is just our narrow seals and context curves. So looking at really optimising our seal widening program and also more signage. Hopefully people won't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Levi.
Thank you. Just lock us up, that'll keep us safe. Can't drive, can't do a crash. Hey, I'm interested in the procurement side of things. It seems very smart wire self-assessment. What makes a smart wire? What are the things we can improve in this space and how we do?
Yes, I think we've we've put a lot of stuff through training for procurement planning, which is turning us into a much smarter buyer. So we sit down at the start of a large scale project and work through a whole lot of information to make sure we're packaging work up in the most appropriate manner. We've got a new procurement strategy in place, which has increased it, and we're working with our market.
It's looking at the various aspects of when you try to procure, so we say, right, have we got existing agreements in place that we can utilise? It is the package deals up, can we do it on a South Canterbury collaborative basis? So it's really just exploring those different ways of procuring. It's not just the traditional right to contract, temporary, up to price informing. It's getting on smarter and recognising that it's important quality is just as important as price.
Yeah, so we had that visual statement in 2016, so we'll need to get updated before the 2020 report. So we've definitely made great gains in the last few years.
So what percentage is a smart lighting?
I'm happy to have a look at, yeah, so 65 to 70. So we're sitting at 58, and I would say it would be very confidently and that 65, but I'd be hesitant to say that it would then be done, because I think we can always improve, which is why I really like the wording for that one, which is that the developing our organisations embrace the principles of being a smart light, but can still create further improved value for our communities. And I think that that's the key, is that even when we're in that green box, we want to be striving to be it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie and the team, and I'll take this opportunity for all the work and show leadership for our district. It's greatly appreciated. So the recommendation is that the report be received and information is noted. Move in the Bowman, seconded by Councillor Chris from Paper. Thank you. Thank you. So final report for today is the South End Advice Minimisation and Management Services Memorandum of Understanding. Welcome with Clark. Speaks report. This is to approve the process of disposal of solid waste and regrowth in the three districts. I'll take reports read, and Ruth, I welcome you to speak to the report. Thank you.
This memorandum of understanding really continues a historic arrangement. You don't need this, do you? Really? This memorandum of understanding continues a historic arrangement that we've had with Waimatea District Council and Kensington District Council, who have been actually bringing the waste to landfill for probably a very, very long time. It just updates the agreement. So we've really taken the opportunity with the new contract to formalise this arrangement, and it goes a little bit further than just the landfill, because we are going to have the landfill, and we will have the materials recovery facility and the new composting facility. So we wanted to have strong regional collaboration to use all of those facilities, and there's been a big emphasis on that in the contract procurement. That ties in with actually a lot more work nationally on everyone trying to agree, e.g. standardising recycling, looking at what we accept, how we accept it, so that no matter where people go through New Zealand, they kind of will know what they'll be able to do for their recycling. So the memorandum allows the two other councils access as customers. It's not compulsory, they don't have to bring their stuff to us, but it gives them the option to do so. And if they do that, then they have to meet acceptance criteria for those facilities. And actually we have to meet our own criteria as well, so there's no change there. The benefit is that it makes the facilities more economic, and particularly with the organics, gives us an opportunity to receive the input, but also to share the output, so we can broaden our markets for selling compost and take it to that much wider agricultural sector. And the other main benefit is that although we retain the ownership and the management, it does encourage a shared responsibility to make the landfill asset last longer and to encourage regional waste minimisation and collaboration.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ruth. Collaboration together with District Fitness and then to councils is great. If there's no questions for this member, Councillor Booth.
I guess the substance such as carbon charges that are included in the levies which they pay through the gate.
Yes, they will just pay the gate rate as set by council.
Okay, so the recommendation that the memorandum of understanding is approved. I move for that. Councillor Wall, seconded by Councillor O'Reilly. All in favour? Aye. Yes. Thank you, Bruce, great work. Okay, so there was no considerations of urgent business nor of minor nature. I declare the meeting closed at 10:10.